Hey, this is Kevin David Rail from Fasting for Fitness, and this is
Jennifer Beyer.
And today we're going to be talking about this awesome apparatus back here called the Treadwall, which I don't think gets enough attention in the gym scene. I absolutely love this tool. Jen is a very profound and very well-schooled climber outside, and this is actually a tool that helps improve your climbing ability outside the gym. Now, I've been to a lot of gyms across the country. I haven't seen these in a lot of gyms, and that's the reason I want to go into this, because if you have one of these, I highly suggest you jump on top and get it. Get after it. We're going to talk about some benefits of it. We're going to talk about how to use it, and we're going to go a little bit deeper into the minutia of how you can capitalize on your workouts with it. Jennifer, you've been using it for how long?
A few years now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And did you feel it helps your climbing ability out there too, in the real world?
Right, I think that for the Treadwall here in particular, it helps me to hone in on particular maneuvers that I'm practicing for my outdoor climbing. And it also helps me with endurance.
Oh, interesting. Just general endurance.
Just general endurance, especially out in climbing as well. Okay. And so you can kind of time it out and measure it out. So if you're practicing and you're training for a certain climb and you know that climb is X amount of feet, then what I do is I typically triple that amount of time and I just get on the wall and I go. And so it helps me be in the position of a climber for a long period of time in order to prepare for the actual climb.
Well, that's a very interesting point you just brought up, because you're basically addressing climbers out there. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to address the me's out there. I am not a climber. I climb with you a little bit here in the gym. We went down to the climbing gym once or twice. But in the big picture, I love this tool as well as an actual training apparatus, because there's a lot of maneuvers where you're stretching a lot. So you're getting a lot of strength activity, you're getting muscle endurance, you're getting a lot of stretching, you're getting a lot of lower body activity, a lot of core activity as well, and your heart rate gets up through the roof. So to all you people out there who are not climbers, I highly encourage you to try to get on one of these as well.
I think there's a lot of tension that's created in the body as well.
That's a good word, tension.
Because as we'll show in just a minute here, you can adjust the speed at which the wall operates. So you can slow it to get a lot of tension, or you can speed it up to then get a lot of your heart rate up, essentially. So it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, a lot of variety that you have.
So you can cover a lot of parameters of fitness with this. You can get flexibility, you can get balance, you can get muscle strength, core strength, brain function as well, because you do a lot of crossbody patterns too, which we'll get into that once she starts climbing on the wall, and I narrate when we get to that point. But for now, we're going to show you how to adjust it, and then we're going to show you how to get trucking. So stay tuned. Okay, so when it comes to adjusting the Treadwall, there's this circular, I don't know what you call this, wheel, I guess, on the side.
It's steering wheel for the climber.
Steering wheel for the climber. We'll call it a steering wheel because it looks like it. And there's this little pin in the middle. So what she's going to do is pull that pin out, and it releases this notch thing, and then you just turn it when it's released, and it goes on this cable right here, and it moves the wall in and out. So when your wall is in like this, just imagine yourself climbing, and you're climbing like this. It's going to be really, really hard.
It's an overhang.
It's called an overhang. So she likes to do it this way because she's an experienced climber. But if you're brand new to this Treadwall, that's like ridiculous right there. You can also go the opposite direction if you're brand new. So now release it, and you can bring it back this way. And
just make sure you have your hands on the steering wheel so it's slow and controlled, and you don't damage the climbing wall.
That's a good point. Now, it's about vertical here. You can also take it and unrelease it, release it, and now spin it more this way. And you can even go this way too. So if you're brand new to the wall, I would suggest having it at an incline like this slightly, get used to it, and then you can start working your way backwards into what's called the overhang.
Overhang.
The overhang.
Yeah, it's just a certain degree of pitch that you're climbing.
Exactly.
And the approach changes as well. So if you're at a 90 degree here, it's a pretty easy approach. If you want an overhang and practice your overhang and approach in a more difficult manner, then you're going to want to put the climbing wall at an overhang kind of pitch, and your whole approach and how you're entering is going to change. So you're going to have to hang, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult as well.
And when you're at a pitch like this, you're going to get a lot more upper body recruitment, aren't you?
Right.
Because you're kind of like hanging. It's almost like from a pull-up bar, and you're just kind of hanging there, pulling yourself up.
Right, it's all different. Your footing is different, your how you lock out your shoulders to your elbows and how you hang. It's all very different. So there's just a lot of variety in your training for just general athleticism, as well as you're climbing.
Yep. Okay, speaking of which, let's get down to the fun stuff and let's get down to the actual climbing. Okay, now it's time to climb. Jennifer is going to show us how to actually use the wall. Now, this is manually operated, meaning your body weight operates the wall. And there's a couple machines in here. There's one called the Jacob's Ladder, which I did a video before on, and if you haven't watched it, make sure to watch that video. And I talk about how you can increase your speed by climbing up higher on the Jacob's Ladder. That's not the case with this. This is manually operated, and you have a lot of room to work here. She's on the shorter side, so she can go all the way up and all the way down. I'm tall, and I can literally almost touch the top and bottom at the same time when I'm in a full stretch. So this starts moving once she starts climbing up on it. So go ahead and give a little quick demo on how this works.
Right, and so before you get on the wall, one of the things, to Kevin's point, one of the things that you want to do is you want to look at the rate of speed here, because it is body operated, but you can actually torque up and torque down the amount of tension on the wall.
And I want to talk about this dial right over here. This is your speed dial, and on the dial you'll see a rabbit on one side and a tortoise on the other, and that kind of makes sense. If you turn it toward the rabbit, it's going to go faster, and toward the tortoise, it's going to go slower. So what this does is it adjusts the tension on the tread wall to make it easier or harder. So if you want to really start ripping it, you're going to turn it toward the rabbit, and it's going to start going faster. And we're going to show you how that works once she gets going.
Right, so what I always do is I step on the wall here, and I see how fast it's going to go.
That's a good point.
You know, Kevin was messing around with the dial here, so I just want to make sure it's okay for me and my body weight and what I want to train for at that moment. So I like a little bit slower. And so I test it here. And so I know that this is really tight here. So if I'm working on long holds, it's important for me to have a lot of tension in the wall. So, and also all of these holds are very different. So it just gives you a lot of different options. And what I like to do is I like to practice reach. Because I am a little bit shorter, I like to practice like really reaching for my next hold. And so having tension allows me time and allows me to hang on the shoulder and lock properly between the hold in the cup here, my wrist, my elbow, and my shoulder lock. And so that piece is really important to me in my own training.
That's a good point you made right there. And I'm also going to mention, whenever I use it, I always default this down to really slow when I first start. And yeah, I test it like this, but then I want to start super slow just to get the groove going. And then once I'm literally all the way up on the wall, then I start to regulate my speed over here. So I suggest you go in like that too. And you made a really good point about starting with your arm fully extended like this.
Yeah, it's actually all different. So if you're wanting, I'm working on long reaches, but if you're working on just having a just smaller footed approaches, you would just technically approach the wall differently as well. So it might just be, just something like this. But it's always good to just lock that shoulder and hang, because then you're getting the full strength of your bones aligning.
That's good. It's full extension too. Okay, so let's get down to business. She's going to start climbing on the wall.
All right.
I'm going to do a little narration. So here's what it looks like. She presses down with her foot, and then you'll notice the wall will just start moving, and it's really slow right now.
Right.
But it could be fortuitous depending if you are a climber and you're trying to improve your grip strength in one spot or something like that.
Exactly. So these are long, big holds here.
That is a long hold.
And so, it gives you time to practice being on the wall and then fully extending out. And so if it's a little bit too slow, what you want to do is speed it up just a little bit.
That's a really good example right there of how it works. And like she was talking about, the holds are going to be all different on the Treadwall too. And that's up to the gym, if you will, that sets up the wall. Or if you happen to get one of these for your home, you can set these up as much as you want, or as different as you want. Some of these are really thick and big, like that one, and it's really easy to put a foothold on. And some of them, like this right here, are very narrow and thin, and you have to really work on your grip strength for them and your toe strength as well. And that's a pretty crazy move right there. Crazy upper body. She's wearing actual climbing shoes as well. That's another thing I wanted to mention. I usually use flat-soled shoes. I'm a barefoot minimalist guy, so if I could do this barefoot, I would. I haven't gotten to the point where I can, and I'm not allowed to be barefoot in the gym, so I either wear my minimalist shoes or I wear Converse All-Stars or Vans or any kind of skater shoe that has a flat sole on it, because that's how I roll. And they work perfectly fine for me. But ideally, I would say climbing shoes are going to be your best option. Now, another thing I want to mention about the benefits of this is a lot of these moves she's doing are crossbody. So if you've seen any of my videos in the past, I talk a lot about crossbody and complex movement and how it improves your brain function and increases the neurons in your brain. So it allows you to concentrate better, allows you to have a better memorization, and it helps reduce the risk for any kind of mortality caused from brain dementia and stuff as you get older, because I'm all about reversing the aging process. So when she goes and kicks her leg across this way or kicks her arm across that way, and see a little flip right there, all that is super good for the brain as well. So all the benefits rolled into one with the climbing wall, the tread wall, are better cardiovascular function, better climbing function outside when you're climbing, improved core strength, improved raw power and strength overall, and also brain function, all rolled into one. And it's a really fun apparatus. So that right there is our tutorial on the Treadwall. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to hit me up anytime. This is Kevin David Rail. Make sure to like and share my videos and subscribe to my page. Until next time.